Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola, Senor Blake de Snapperhead.
And Ron.
What's happening?
And it's the end of everything. The Premier League it's not the end of everything, guys. Things haven't gotten that bad. But it's the end of Premier League.
The world is pretty crazy
I know.
right now.
I realized
that
as soon as I said it, I was like, actually, that's a bad way to start this. Premier League has ended. We've just had our FA Cup final. MLS is close to wrapping up its MLS's back tournament. The NWSL has ended. News everywhere. More managers have left. Things are going on. We got beer news from across the world. And probably more importantly to a lot of people is the fact that the bet between Ferris and I that Man United would end lower in the season than Arsenal did not come true for me. So that means that I have to... As we start our show off, as we always do, we have our beer of the pod, and I'll be having a show favorite from a company called Butternuts. It's Butternuts Brewing, right, Ron?
Yes, it is.
From
Garrettville, New York.
Butternutsbeerandale.com. For those of you not familiar with the history of this beer with us, Butternuts beer, Moo Thunder was the first one we ever tried from them. And it was the first beer that, even if we've ever had something that wasn't like, to our liking is not even a term I like. Beer's beer. It's still beer. This is the only company that we kind of got frustrated with how their beer tasted. And in particular, this previous one was a beer called not their stout, the Moo Thunder, but a beer called
Pork Slap.
Yeah, no, or pork slap. That was the first one, pork slap. Then we moved on to Moo Thunder to try the pork slap was a farmhouse ale. We moved on to the Moo Thunder chocolate stout, thinking well, maybe that'll be better. Nope. And then our third and final beer we had on the show for them was called SnapperHead Farmhouse IPA. Says all malt, which is a weird thing to say about your hop beer. This is the beer of theirs that I got aggressively angry at because it doesn't the name IPA and it doesn't mean anything. It's just words. It's just jumbled letters that mean effing nothing because this doesn't taste like an IPA. Also, just so you know, because we sure as hell didn't drink the rest of it, 2 cans. This last one, 2 sitting in my fridge. So now there's still 1 left in the fridge. God. And 1.
Even the can color is hideous.
Yeah, and 1 cookie puss, by the way, for other bets that need to happen. But yeah, it's yellow can with a cool looking fish jamming on like some like headphones, Sony Walkman thing. And at the bottom it says packaged September 11th, 2017.
Good year.
It's been a while since we've had this one, guys.
Yeah.
No, not we. Well, yeah, since we've had this
we've
one,
had it.
You are
yes. Man, I just went to the Butternuts and Beer and Ale website. Remember the first time we did Pork Slap? We went to their site and it was it said 404. Like, it was like nothing, right?
Yeah.
Well, now they've even made it even prettier. It's really beautiful. There's this like nice little craft brewery kiln with a brick wall. It looks gorgeous. Butternutsbeerandale.com if you care to check.
Beer and ale.
Fresh and local in a can. And here's the thing. It's 2000, guys. I'm Butternuts. I'm more than willing to give you a pass and try one more time from a 3-year-old beer.
No. Do umpires in baseball, and that season just came back, do umpires in baseball give a batter a 4th chance?
No, but you get 4 balls to a walk.
It's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old Butternuts game.
Well, it says their beers right now. Pride of the Butternut Valley. God, it sounds worse. As a pioneer in craft canning, our flagship lineup has a drink appeal you can trust. Oh, the flagship lineup has changed, guys. And it's easy to recognize the market. Our beer has a place for any occasion, at a price any discerning beer consumer will appreciate. This Snapperhead used to be one of their main ones. It was Pork Slap, Moo Thunder, Snapperhead, and whatever their Hefeweizen was. But now it's Pork Slap, the Farmhouse Pale Ale, the Moo Thunder Stout, brewed with lactose and acid. And then the last one is Anthrax Pale Ale.
Why would you name a beer Anthrax?
So Anthrax may have leapt over the Red Snapper as their IPA of choice. So I just say that in all full. If you're like, I've had Anthrax and that's good. Sorry, that phrase just it's too much.
I had Anthrax from Butternuts Brewing.
So that's as we move to our beer before we get to the soccer talk. Snapperhead IPA.
How are you going to do this one here?
I'm going.
So let's recap a second. So the last time that we had a beer bet on the pod, Ferris was the unlucky loser of that bet
and had to drink about as old Moo Thunder as this is an old Snapperhead.
And I think it was the same bet that United would finish above Arsenal.
And in the last 3 matches, it flopped. It switched.
We bet hard, yeah.
So Ferris, in an attempt to save his intestinal tract,
this made no sense.
He made a ice cream float of Moo Thunder, to which the moment he poured the beer onto the ice cream, it foamed like a baking soda vinegar science project.
It was so thick. It was like a dairy cement.
Yeah. It kind of looked like that gross sea foam that stays forever at the beach.
Oh,
that's kind of what
you're absolutely right. That is a very good yes. Yeah.
And Ferris, if you wouldn't mind, just a quick recap for how that all tasted.
Oh, well, it was a warm Florida day. It sounded, it was one of those things that you're like, oh, this sounds like a great idea. It's going to help. It's going to ease through. It's going to be the ice cream is going to mask the very poor beer, if you want to call that taste of what is the treacherous Thunder. And instead I felt like the bride of Frankenstein pouring in some concoction to bring out the demons of some dark beer that oozed into the Rocky Road cookie and cream, whatever ice cream that I had in it, and it tasted like death going down.
So
yeah, I think we have a wave file of him shuddering. Audibly shuddering while drinking that.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. I feel like to do this, because I don't want to besmirch your beers, maybe what I should do is I should read a review or two of Snapperhead IPA, crack it, pour it open, have the first sip, and then we'll let you guys do your beers so I don't have my first sip with your hopefully not for Ferris good beers.
That sounds good to me.
So is this cold or is it a lukewarm room temp?
I mean, I just took it out of the fridge 5 minutes ago, so that's where it's
cold
at right now. I know I got to find that wave file of Ferris burping, or hating the Moo Thunder.
Hating the Moo Thunder, yeah. The burp was the cookie puss.
That's true.
Moo Thunder was the lot of F-bombs, a lot of shuddering.
Yeah,
a lot of hating my life.
It was just you trying your damnedest to get it out and get it done before you just Ralphed. It was awesome.
Yeah, something like that.
It was awesome. Okay, so I'm going to read this first review before I... So for butter,
what's the source of your?
This is I'm on review. Beer Advocate, right? That's the one we like to use, right? That's not been bought
they're
out.
Actually on a reputable site like that.
Oh, buddy, Beer Advocate. It's like they'll review
on Untapped
anything. So here we go. This is not an IPA. Flat hops, very little floral notes. Tastes like a better carbonated British ale. Okay with a hint of grapefruit. I pass. Too many great competitors in the market. Now that's
kind.
Yeah,
that person is very kind.
Even though he rated it 1.95. Here's another one from Connecticut. The look 1.5, smell 1.75, taste 1.5. This is great. Here we go. Drain, poured. Why make an IPA without hops? Just why? Offensive to American IPAs. I agree with this guy because this is why I got so angry at the last time. Didn't bother to pour this one into a glass after my first, also my last sip. Smell was all malt, not even a good malt. Maybe like if you took a piece of caramel candy and let it dissolve into water. Taste was slightly more awful than smell because at least with smell, the unpleasantness goes away after a second. With taste, it lingers and lingers and lingers. Really, the only thing this beer has going for it is feel, but really, who cares about how beer feels if you can't get past the taste? I wouldn't accept this as a free gift from anyone going forward. All right, guys. I even got a nice IPA glass for it, like a real, like it's a real beer.
You're trying to make it fancy.
All right. I'm going to have to look up their history to see if they ended up hiring a new brewmaster. And if they did, we may have to give it another chance.
Nope.
Oh, man.
No, it's forever ruined.
How's that smelling?
Like aluminum.
Yep.
Copper.
Very well.
The back end's not good. Out of the can.
You don't say.
Okay, I'm just going to pour this right now.
Oh, I wish I was in studio.
I'm actually surprised you didn't show up at the house, Ferris. Like, I'll be honest.
Well, still trying to do the whole, say.
Trying to just show up in a hazmat suit to pick up the SnapperHead.
You show up like you're one of the people chasing ET just to watch.
And then be like, oh, are you going into like the ER or something? No, I'm going to a friend's house. Oh, you're socially distancing. No. I have to deal with something called SnapperHead.
Hey, I'll say this. Its head retention is wild.
Whoa.
That's not normal. It's like 5 inches of straight foam.
That's not normal.
I don't think it did that last time. Okay. Last time I don't think I gave it as much appreciation just to kind of talk about its notes, its color. It's a very hazy IPA, but not in a good way. It's I can't tell if I see yeast chunks in there or what's going on. It shouldn't be with a can, but I will say that
hazy. When you say it's hazy, it's not because it's a hazy IPA.
Yeah.
It's just brewed really badly.
This is going to make me so angry again. Because this was the third and final attempt to find a beer that was good of theirs. And
At least you are having it off of some sort of positive note from, yesterday's game. It would have been worse if you finished the worst place in the league that you have for 20 years, and then the FA Cup didn't go particularly well, and then you had to drink this beer. That'd be like a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
3 strikes.
Yeah.
You're weirdly not making me feel any better as I stare at this. Okay. I need to let this foam go down just a little bit so I can get a good first swig.
Oh my God. It's not going down though. That's the thing. It's staying.
It's going in the center. It's dissolving. It's sticking to the edges, which I don't know what that says about it. But that's, if you looked in the bottom, you probably can't see it through FaceTime, but it's like, it's concaving down, but it's weirdly clinging like soap to the side. And let's just talk about the head.
2017, my friend.
That head looks like soap.
Yeah, that's not the kind of lacing on the inside of the glass that you're looking for from a good beer.
No, nope. Do you see that? Like,
oh yeah,
it's sticking like this is an effing science experiment. All right, Ferris, glory, Man United.
Hey, thank you.
There you go.
Enjoy.
You did it with with Gollum. All right, here we go.
That's a big sip just to get to the beer.
Oh,
there it is.
Bitter beer face.
It doesn't taste like it did the last time we had it, guys.
Better or worse?
It's way worse. It's definitely gone bad in the 3 years since it's been made. Oh. God,
the pain on your face.
There's still stuff left in the can. That's what really sucks. Oh, God. Something chunky came with the last.
Thankfully, it's not a tall boy.
I don't even know. You know what? Hold on. Let me get another sip. I'm going to give this beer an honest review. Here we go. It pours nice and hazy. Let's call it cloudy, like Chernobyl cloud. It's very cloudy. With some stuff, there's sediment and things floating around.
Chernobyl cloud.
All right, here we go. One more.
And there's not supposed to be sediment in your IPA from a can.
Okay, here's the thing. Oh, it could be age. It's like turned into an IPA sour.
Yes,
oh, God.
One of your favorites.
It's it is, the bitter is all down the middle of the tongue, the length of like the width of a razor blade. It's weird. Straight down. It doesn't, there's barely any discernible hops. The crazy thing is, I remember now, this is why I got so mad at the beer. Oh, an IPA, I poured it. You can't smell hops.
Yeah, there's no hops in it.
Soap. That's what it smells like. Yeah, it smells like soap.
I love it.
Oh God, I just want to go there and punch butternut.
Punch him right in the butternuts.
It smells like soap, and it's a lot of sediment, guys, just floating around in there. It's like a damn fresh squeezed lemonade when you got all the lemonade parts or lemon parts floating. That it's just full of. And look at that! Look at that lacing. It's like now dissolving
it's
and
not,
truly
yeah,
it's
not going anywhere.
Soap now. Just
is it
soap.
eating through the glass?
That, you know what's funny? I did get a glass that I had spares of because I was like, just in case I have to throw it away. I'm not going to get a good glass. I was like, I'll get a good IPA glass. And I grabbed the dogfish one. No, I'm not going to get why would I put that in the dogfish glass? Let me get this one. It's from one of the gift sets from either you or Ferris from your mom. I can't remember that we had multiple of gift sets of glassware.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, awesome.
Brilliant.
It's like drink. It's like if you say I'm gonna wash your mouth out with soap to a kid. I feel like that's what I'm.
That's worse.
No, that's it. That's my description for its flavor.
Oh, wash your mouth out with butternuts. No, Mom, I'll clean my room.
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna take.
Wait till your father gets home. He's gonna get that can of butternuts.
Oh.
I'll do it.
I'll mow the lawn.
This is gonna take some Zen meditation to get through.
Yeah, you get a clothespin for your nose.
Perfect club to do that.
Here's the weird thing. The final note, you know how like you feel the different, your tongue's receptors, you have different receptors, like sour sit somewhere, bitter sit, on like if you map out the tongue.
Yeah.
This thing, you shouldn't have the sensation on the back of your tongue where the gag reflex is. And that's where the final flavor sits. It's just sitting there. Like that spot that if you try to get to with your toothbrush, you'll just yak. Like it's like that far back, and that's where it sits. That's why I made that face the first time. It's so far back.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, sitting in my mouth isn't as bad. It's the swallow. Oh, God.
Those jokes write themselves.
Yeah, they do.
Oh. What's on your... you guys have beer now. Go ahead. Jeez, I've already forgotten where we were at. Oh.
Yes, even better.
It's like rancid orange juice. Boom. That's what rancid orange juice.
I love that this is going to be the gift that keeps on giving the whole pod.
Oh.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Ron, I guess I'll go first.
If only Ron had been here, we could have bet the other can over the FA Cup.
FA Cup final. I have a lovely beer. It is local to the state of Florida. It is not necessarily nearish, but it is from Doral, Florida, in a brewery called Tripping Animals Brewing out of Doral, Florida. And the beer that I have is called Jackass. And it's in collab with our friends over in Tampa Bay Brewing Company.
I'm glad you're drinking a beer called Jackass, because that's what you are with your Man United stuff just sitting
You're
all
welcome.
There.
It is a...
he built a Man United shrine right there. This little scarf
I got
there.
a little kit. I got my kit, my scarf. I can bring out more stuff if you want. Oh, I also have this lovely coaster that my girlfriend got me on Etsy. It's various plays that very famous goals that United have scored, and kind of has how the goal was scored. This particular coaster says April 13th, 1999, FA Cup semifinals, Arsenal 1, Man United 2.
I liked her until you just told me about this.
The goal was setting up the treble with a Ryan Giggs 109th minute goal. So that's why we will be having this fine Jackass beer on.
I'm not going to lie. That's
so
pretty
Ron is
cool.
correct, it's a shrine.
That's pretty cool that those coasters exist. That's actually pretty
it's pretty neat. There's a pack of 4 of them.
It's
so
cool because when you first held it up, Ferris, you have to take a picture for the pod. I thought it was like a star chart is what it looked like, because it's black with like
similar,
the white, and then you're like, oh no, it's the play itself, but it looks like a constellation.
It's cool.
At first on there. That's cool looking, man.
Yeah, it's cool. It shows like who was on defense, like Vieira, Tony Adams, Dixon, Seaman, and then Scholes was involved. York was involved, and Giggs with a nice shot. But nonetheless, Doral, Florida, Jackass beer. The vision of Tripping Animals was built on creating a passionate family team that brewed great beers in the state of Florida, where they exist to love, service, and inspire their patrons. Tripping Animals is 100% independently and family-owned brewery. This is a tall boy pint, 16 fluid ounces. It is 10.7%, so I'm starting off nice and strong this morning.
Not as strong as me.
That's you're very. I don't know if strong is the right word, but
because on this can it doesn't even say what the beer alcohol content is, but I bet it's higher at this point. Jeez,
probably
6.1.
Yeah, that's way too much for that. It is a triple IPA ale with Galaxy Citra, El Dorado, and Florida Blossom honey. So
that sounds really good. I hate you.
I can't wait. And I got it from down there from our friends at GB Bottle Shop too. So
nice.
Having this.
What a good little shop that is.
Oh, I love it. Ron, you're up.
So in case you've watched our Untapped this weekend or our Instagram stories, I was out trying some different brews from some different breweries. Or some more breweries, I should say. And the beer for this pod is called Get Toasted from the Jing A Brewing Company here in Beijing. Probably the most popular brewery here in Beijing. This beer is a pale stout or a white stout. Pours a summery gold, lush notes of dark chocolate, coffee, and vanilla. Meet ample additions of roasted marshmallow and biscuit malt. This is a beer for tall tales and nighttime adventures on the wild part of the Great Wall.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good description.
And then, here's the can art.
Oh, that's cool looking.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the character for Jing, as in Beijing. So that's Jing, and then there's the A. And they put it in all their different can arts and things like that. It's a 5.5% ABV. And one of the things that's so cool over here is that they sell pretty much every beer in a 330 milliliter can. So you can get tall boys,
that's right.
or you can get these 330 milliliter cans, which is like 11 and a quarter ounces, something like that. So it's great for, beers that are probably sweeter or higher in alcohol content, so that, you don't get an entire pint and you can, still keep drinking the day away. But I can't wait to try this one. It's a special beer. They only make it certain times of the year, and we're in the heart of being able to order it. So I got a 4-pack of these 330 milliliter cans.
Very cool. Well, shall we?
Yeah,
I think we shall.
Go ahead, enjoy your beers.
This Jackass is for Blake.
Oh, yep. And by the way,
good.
all of the cans, pretty much all the cans from any of the breweries. They have the complete pull top.
Oh, old school where it peels the whole thing off.
Yeah.
Like a can of Schaefer's.
Yep.
Oh,
Look at you guys. Your beers don't look like they have soap sitting on the top of it. That's weird.
No, but mine does have what is a normal head on the retention. Ron's head game is always on point, so he has a little bit more.
Look at this now. It's completely, there's no head base.
The glass.
Yeah, exactly what it looked like. And there's still a couple pieces stuck to the side, way up there. That's weird.
Oh yeah, that's not normal.
So I'm a little worried about this one. It kind of smells like pea soup.
Ew. Either way, it can't be worse than what Cool Lake has to drink.
Yeah.
What style was it again, Ron?
This is a white stout.
Oh.
Even though the beer purists say that there's no such thing.
Yeah.
Dragon's Milk's got a white stout. I don't think we've tried it, but it's really good.
We've had a white stout or two on the pod before. Yeah. Can't remember offhand, but
shall we?
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Can't wait to hear.
Awesome season. Thanks for drinking up, Blake.
God bless America.
Ooh.
Okay.
Wow. You can really taste the Florida blossom honey in this. Wow.
You sound like Owen Wilson.
Tampa Bay Brewing Company. Wow.
Tampa Bay and who?
It is done by Tripping Animals Brewing in collaboration with Tampa Bay Brewing Company.
Gonna need to try that.
Which makes sense because Tampa Bay Brewing does the Reef Donkey and all of the Tripping Animals stuff is exactly what you can think. It's all off of various animals, and all of their can art's awesome. You can find them at trippinganimals.com, and they have all sorts of fun stuff. But this beer is real nice.
So this beer from Jing-A, the pale stout, hits you with a very coffee flavor up front, and then a bit of chocolate notes, but there's a lot of vanilla flavor on the finish, which kind of turns into like a crackery malt. It's very interesting. It's quite good.
This beer turns into urine in the back of your mouth. And I really just thought, like, my wife was like, you're just going to pound it down. I was like, exactly. I can't. I think I'd yak. Every time I try to take a big, good, strong gulp. There it is sitting on the back of the palate. Just
loving life.
Just pound it down, and you call some dinosaurs, and you'll be just fine.
Yeah, oh, man. Call some dinosaurs. I forgot about that. Oh my God. This is brutal.
Well, shall we get to the Premier League as we kind of remind ourselves on how Blake got to drinking this fine beer?
Sure. It's funny. You look an honest to God soccer analyst now with your Apple earbuds that you've switched to, because half the analysts during the FA Cup were wearing Apple earbuds at home. So you look proper right now.
Hey, thanks, man. That's
I just bought this pair of headphones from called Aftershocks. You guys hear about these?
Oh yeah, I have heard about them.
They're they work on bone conduction. That's not a euphemism.
Oh right, as opposed to just going into your ear, it's actual a vibration on your own.
And what's really cool is I can wear them to be on the phone and listen to music and things on the construction site. And still be present in the construction site area because I can still hear. They don't block your ears. It's pretty
cool.
They're pretty great. Just look them up, Aftershocks. They're pretty slick.
If you want to sponsor us, go ahead.
Yep, please.
Oh, my God. Go ahead. Let's talk. Jesus, man. This is going to take so long to get rid of. It's real hard to take multiple sips in a row.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess the best way to go through this is the Premier League season ends with, I guess, with a bit of a dull roar. Because because really the only race was where Manchester United was going to finish and who were the last, couple teams that were going to get relegated. Liverpool had already won the league, so there was there's no surprise there, no last minute finish. So obviously Liverpool wins the league on 99 points. Man City ends up in it's second place on 81 points. Manchester United climbs through the table after the COVID and places themselves in third on 66 points. The only reason that they get ahead on Chelsea, also at 66 points, is because they have a way better goal differential than we did. So your top four.
The goals that we scored in the second half, as you were saying, is what propelled us there. Because I want to say January, we were 14 points behind Leicester, who finished in fifth, and on like a minus 20 goal difference. And we caught up and are now 4 ahead of them, where they're at a plus 26 and we're a plus 30. And I get what you're saying with it being a dull kind of end to the year, but that top 4 race was actually heightened because of news that happened. And I don't know if we potted before then, but the ban on Man City taking place in the next 2 Champions League was lifted.
Yeah, guys, rules don't mean anything. That's what we've learned.
No.
Because they know
Sheikh's money means everything.
They know they did it.
Eventually.
And I love that Pep's like kind of being crappy about, like, he said something when Arsenal won. He said something, whatever. I'll give him props on the pitch, but not off of, because every league in the team in the league was like, no, we don't overturn it. And he's all mad at everybody. But it's like, guys, like no one. And so then the question is, what's going to happen moving forward? Does that rule mean nothing for anybody now?
Precedent is set, so who the hell knows?
Yep.
Or if you don't have enough money to pay off the correct individuals. I mean, allegedly.
Speaking of which,
thank you, Ron, so we don't get sued.
Speaking of which, I noticed you don't have anything here about the FIFA president now being brought to court.
Oh no, I don't know if I saw that. When did that happen?
Well, let's finish up on this part, and then we can get into that.
It's relevant in this kind of stuff.
Yeah, but so the top 4 race was certainly heightened, as now it wasn't the 3rd, 4th, and 5th that would get in. It was actually the top 4. And that really came down to the last day, where Manchester United played Leicester. Chelsea played... Who did you guys play? Wolves. And Wolves is right there in 7th as well. And United ended up beating Leicester 2-0. And a Bruno Fernandes penalty and a Jesse Lingard, rarely heard of this season, ended it 2-0. Leicester just kind of fell off after the break and weren't as a scoring threat as they have been, despite having the golden boot in their team. They just could not keep balls from going in the back of their net.
Well, did anybody call that?
Did not get as many. That what?
Jimmy Vardy is the golden boot?
No. And we'll get to that here in a bit with our predictions, because I was able to scrounge those up. But yeah, that top 4 race looks a little bit more top 4-ish than in years past, as Ron was saying, with Liverpool, Man City, Manchester United, and Chelsea.
Yeah. It was I don't know. I think it was still from a Premier League standpoint, it was a pretty dull roar to the top 4.
Well,
there was still some intrigue.
Had already been taken out of the sails of the Liverpool run, in the sense that, like, all the hype was behind it, and then, like, it just stopped. Then we came back.
Right.
Oh, and they won the league. It was just weird. The pause and play was odd and just kind of took the sails out of a lot of hype that had been building up.
Yeah, but there was I was intrigued because there is a lot on the line for this top four. You look at just the teams that finished in fourth, fifth, and sixth. Chelsea already signing people, bringing in Zurich, bringing in Timo Werner. They're coming in on the basis that Chelsea is going to be playing Champions League football, and if they did not get in, that would have been detrimental. And Chelsea did. Leicester, while they haven't made signings and aren't bringing in people, what Champions League can do for that club and to keep them even higher up and in the Premier League for years to come would be to get into that. Now, they're still in Europe. They're just not in the Europe that they thought. And then Tottenham, who in the past few seasons has made it into the top four and has gotten that Champions League. And with Jose there, who likes to bring in players and likes to bring in, high value targets with European football that's not Champions League, will he be able to do that in the off season? And then you go up there to third, and Manchester United in their Adidas kit deal had some sort of deal where if they didn't get into Champions League for two successive seasons, they were about to lose out on hundreds
bunch of money.
Like 26 million or something.
Yeah, it was a big
like
chunk.
that. So what that
it was a 30%.
It
was a 30% drop.
Yeah, that's huge. So that's where I think it's interesting. Is not necessarily on the pitch, but the back room of football, the implications that the top four in Champions League football can have.
Well, Leicester should have gone to the Champions League because Man City should have been denied.
Well, this is true.
Agreed on all fronts.
They get a little hosed. Although Leicester City just went to the toilet the last.
Yeah, they did not come back really well.
They should have been in Champions League regardless, and then they just totally just let it slide.
Yeah. I wonder if they feel hard done by it or not.
I think if they hadn't had such a slide at the end, because that was all on their own. That was all in their own hands.
Right.
They were sitting above Chelsea. They were sitting above Man United. They just really stopped. I mean, Jamie Vardy was still scoring, but they were playing terrible.
Vardy was. I think James Maddison was out on injury for the last half of the season, and that's a big loss. As he was firing on all cylinders for the first half of the year. They are a team that needs to now change. They are a team that now needs to bring in some new pieces. They still have Oregon back there in defense. He's up there in age. Johnny Evans, while is a good defender, he didn't have the kind of year that he had in years past. And who in midfield besides James Addison can you speak of? And who up front besides Jamie Vardy can you speak of? That's not being able to speak of anybody in those two departments is not for a team in the top four.
No, it's a fine.
You should know
10th place
more
team next
core
year.
there.
If they don't do something
Or lower.
where they'll
Or
be.
lower, yeah, that's true. Yeah. And then how did St. Totteringham's Day turn out for you there, Blake?
It's frustrating because it was close. It could have turned out well. Arsenal screws the pooch on a team they shouldn't, but then of course, although Aston Villa was playing for everything.
Sure.
But they screwed the pooch there, and
beat Man City earlier that week, and then lose to Aston Villa. That is the most Arsenal-y thing to do.
Right.
Beat Liverpool, beat Man City.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Lose to Aston Villa. And I even said that to listener Matt Call. I said that was the one thing. I was like, this would be the one, and sure enough, there it is.
Yeah. Well, Tottenham finished on 6. At 6.
But I feel good about next year's St. Tottenham's Day. I'll put it that way. Tottenham may have ended higher, but the path Arsenal's on looks more confident than the Spurs. I'll say that.
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, I think it's the from a Tottenham, from a Tottenham standpoint, they finish 6th place on 59 points. But I really kind of feel like the pattern of Jose is starting already.
Yeah, he's trashing Harry Kane.
Yeah, he did it in his particularly subtle way where it doesn't sound like trash talking or alienation until you really think about what he said. And what he said was essentially that while Harry Kane is great on Tottenham, if he went anywhere else, he wouldn't be as great. So I guess the
Harry
question
Kane,
is,
come on over to Manchester United.
so the question is he trying to say to encourage Harry Kane to stay and belittling him? You know, like,
which has not worked for him in the past.
That's true. And that's the that he does, right? That's the that he does. That's what he did with Luke Shaw. That's what he did with Martial. That's what he did with Mata at Chelsea. That's what he tries to do. He plays these bullshit mind games that are not necessary because he has so much knowledge in the game in his head, more than we will ever have, and in terms of tactics and substitutions and how to set up a team and when to set up a team against another certain team, right? How many times he's come out of and won a big game. He doesn't need to do the player management tactics side of the game where he then does this weird where he will bash them. It's like that kid on the on the schoolyard that likes this girl, but then pulls on her hair or pushes her down the slide and thinks that that's cute. Well, no, it's not. It's annoying. So stop.
It's borderline mental abuse. I mean, it's a pattern that he's got.
Well, and these guys are
pros.
As
you pointed out already.
You don't need to do that to
Correct.
pros.
Yes. Read your audience. Harry Kane is one of the most prolific strikers in not only the country, the world, and you're treating him like a schoolyard kid of he wouldn't play better if he was somewhere else. Like, come on, dude.
Would play somewhere else?
Like, change. And we talked about this on the previous pod. Change your tactics. Like, you have to change with the times. And the players have a majority of the power now. So you do have to cater to them to some extent. But that was one of the things that made Sir Alex so good, is he was the perfect combo of both. And his player management skills was there. Where Jose never really had that. He has more of the football side of things in his brain. But that player management, where you can get away with some of that stuff 10, 15 years ago, now in the age of social media and the age of the players being paid obnoxious amounts, they have the majority of the power. You have to kind of cater to them, and you have to really massage their egos in order to get the best out of the team. And he's not doing that. And I don't know, I could see him sacked by November.
Oh, easily. And I just picture over in Monaco on a vacation, Arsene Wenger just sipping some cognac, laughing. Just laughing.
Good for Arsene.
Because weirdly enough, he has this crazy pedigree if you look at what he's won. But he's going to end his career with people not thinking well of him, because this is what they'll think of when it comes to him. Is he can come in and win a championship with a team that's pretty much already built, but he's not great at, what Pochettino did. Even though Tottenham never got silverware under him, he can't do that. He can't come into a club and build it up and rally the troops around. That's not Jose. He can't do that.
Yeah, I think he's the 2-year guy who will come into a club that's mostly formed, flush it out, get the best he can out of it, win some silverware, and then burns it to the ground.
Well, and look at who's doing well right now. And even though I know we're talking about Tottenham's in 6, and so they're above Arsenal, but I'm still going to put them on this. People that ended the season well, though, your Liverpool, Man City, Manchester United, Chelsea, and Arsenal had a good run at the end. These are all clubs that the players love their managers. They like playing for their managers.
Yeah.
As people, just as humans, and it's very apparent. And I'm not saying you got to be like best buds with your team. That's not what I mean. But people got to want to. If you want to win one for the Gipper, you got to like the Gipper. And I don't think Chelsea inspires that at all. And so, and the reason I put Arsenal in there really is and Sheffield United fall on this too. But those are a lot of younger coaches, and they're kind of this new wave. And they've got the tactics, but they've also got the psychological player tactics, I think, better.
Because a lot of them have been. Now, I don't necessarily think that you have to be a player in order to or a good player at that fact in order to manage a team or to coach a team. But I think you have to have some sort of personality and people skills to have that team be cohesive enough to win or to be successful. He couldn't even do that with the staff at Chelsea. He alienated himself by firing Ron's idol girlfriend.
The medical.
Yeah, what was her name?
The Greek goddess?
The Greek goddess, yes. But what was her name?
The on-field doctor was physio.
Yeah, the physio for Chelsea got
because she pulled the guy off with the injury, and it's just like it's such bad press, it's bad PR, and the owners of Chelsea board should never have allowed that to happen.
Yes,
but especially in a day and age where everyone's so worried about concussions and everything else. You know what I mean? Like, just was stupid.
Ava Carnero.
Yes, Ava Carnero. Yes. But how about them Wolves?
I should have probably looped Wolves into that too. They like their coach.
He's a good looking man too.
Like the manager there is well liked. I mean,
they have talent. Now the only thing I'm worried about them in the offseason is there's a lot of talk of Real Jimenez going to possibly Arsenal or to some other teams. And will they be kind of pillaged for their talent with Jota and Matinho in the midfield? Like, will they kind of start having to sell here? But they're still they're not in European football next year.
Well, they would have been again with Man City.
Yeah. Had Chelsea won yesterday, I think they would have been too.
Yes, because it would have opened the slot.
Yeah. Right. But Wolves, they definitely punched above their weight. I know Ron had a very bold prediction for Wolves. Not quite as bold. They didn't finish quite as bold as what
it was close.
Ron said, but it was pretty damn close. And I'd be curious to see what they do now in year 3, right? 3 years, 4 years?
Yep.
But all in all, a very good season for them. And they were up there just hitting with the big boys for a majority of the year.
Yeah, it was good to see them. I like seeing some of the teams you don't necessarily see in the top 10 like Wolves, like Sheffield United, Burnley, just hanging on after the season they had. I like seeing the Wolves up there.
And as we're kind of talking the top 4 and whatnot with Wolves and Tottenham, we'll kind of do our predictions a little bit differently, where we'll kind of talk as we go. And Blake's top 4 was Liverpool first, so we're right on. Man City second. Blake, boom, you're doing good so far. Arsenal third. Well, that didn't quite happen. Now did it there? Ask the Butternuts how that went. And Tottenham fourth.
Butternut says it's a bitter pill to swallow. That's what it says.
Yes.
How's that doing now that it's warm?
I mean, it's not any better. It's just I really am trying to pound it, but I can't. It's a sipper, man. It's so much on the back.
It's a sipper. Yeah, good cognac's a sipper. I don't know if I would.
This is
if I would lump that into.
You can glug it, but you're gonna like chunk it. Then you're gonna throw it.
Yeah, you're gonna
feed the fishes, man.
I really had a very wrong top four. I thought Tottenham would be better than they were, but when you sack Pochettino 2 months in, that's usually not the way to do it. I had Liverpool in second, Man City in third, and Manchester United in fourth. So if you take out Tottenham and shift everything up by one, then I was pretty much dead on. But that's not the case. Ron, two, like Blake, started off good. Liverpool first, Man City second, Arsenal in third, and Wolves in fourth. The Wolves shout not bad. The Arsenal shout not too bad. And how it actually finished. Ron didn't even have his Chelsea in there, but as we said, Chelsea finished in fourth, Tottenham in sixth, Wolves in seventh, and Arsenal in eighth. So.
I don't think anybody could have predicted that Lampard was going to walk in and get fourth. I think everybody assumed if they got into Europa, that would be really amazing. It's been pretty impressive what he's pulled off.
And they were also on the ban, right? They couldn't sign anyone.
Oh, that's right.
That was the beginning of the season too, and that's what we kind of thought of. Yeah,
you're right, because that's what factored into none of us touching Chelsea for the top four. That's yes. Yeah, he pulled that off with the ban. So they should have. It's a shame they don't let bans stick to everybody.
Right.
Only where's that sweet Russian oligarch money?
Ooh.
Yeah, right. Ask Timo Werner.
Yeah. So we know Arsenal finishes in eighth on 56 points. Billy Sharp and Sheffield United land in ninth place.
Yes, indeed. That is punching above their weight there, because that is a fantastic. I mean, even though they were in like sixth for a majority of the year, that is a great finish for Chris Wilder and the boys. And let me ask you guys: do you think Chris Wilder deserves Manager of the Year?
I think with the year that Liverpool had, you'd find it hard not to say that it's Klopp. I think any other year, if they had managed to get into Europe, I think the argument would be stronger. It's still impressive what they did, but if they could have gotten into the last Europa spot, I think the argument could be happening. But not getting into that spot and just punching really strongly above the weight, Wolves did that the first year they came in. He's great. I think it's seeing what happens. I think it's what happens later. It'd be hard not to give it to Klopp at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I think Blake is right that if they would have gotten into Europe, it would have been hands down. But he can still certainly win it next year if they continue to punch above their weight, and what they do in the summer. If it's still summer transfer window, with how, late the season ran and all that, what they do in the summer is really going to set the pace for how strongly they're shot out of that cannon, in the new season. And keep in mind, they've only got 40 days. It's really not that long. So, before the next games kick off. So Sheffield United has a bunch of work to do to keep themselves competitive in a crazy short transfer window. But I have faith in them. I agree. They play their brand of football, and they make no apologies, and they constantly go for it. And that, is a thing that we've seen and liked in other teams that have come up, been promoted and then relegated. Like our Bournemouth, Bournemouth loves coming in. They play their brand of football, and then they make no apologies, and they're good at it. Sheffield United is very reminiscent of that. So I think they're going to be good next year, and it'll be fun to watch them, cut down some opponents next year.
Yeah, and that's what is around. I think you had a lot of good points there, and I think They're definitely playing their brand. It's not a Bournemouth brand. It is their brand because of that back three and some of the things that they've done.
Yeah.
I
only say Bournemouth. I only say Bournemouth because I feel like there are so few teams that have their own identity and stick to it all year. And Bournemouth is definitely a team that knows what they're good at and plays their strengths.
Correct. And that's what Sheffield does. And their style is a lot on the defensive side of the ball, which then can allow them to go forward. Their player of the year was Chris Basham, who it was one of the integral parts in that three back center back trio. Their young player of the year was Dean Henderson in goal. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because Dean Henderson is technically on loan. So what are you going to do with your young player of the year? Are you going to try to extend that loan? Is he going to go back? You have to find a goalkeeper in the transfer window. And when your player of the year is a defender, well, what does that tell you? Well, you need to go out and get somebody that can score and somebody that is a constant force up front that can help get you goals, like a Jimenez or like a Danny Ings or somebody like that. I'm not saying that they're in the target sense for them, but you need somebody that can constantly score for what you can hope can be a mid-table team next year, because they are newly promoted, and when teams start to figure out after year one who they are, they could open themselves up to being torn apart a bit. And hopefully that's not the case, and hopefully they can kind of have a sustained period in the league.
One other interesting thing about having your goalkeeper be a player of the year for your team is, especially in this situation, she's all over it. He was a big leader for that defense. So now if you can't extend his loan and you have to get a new keeper, those are big shoes to fill, to find a keeper that was as good as he was and led the defense. So that's going to be a real trick spot for those guys if they can't extend the loan.
And the bargaining power is all on not their side, because he had such a great year. And there's plenty of clubs that need a good keeper. So that makes it rough.
But a good year for them, as they ended pretty much just mid-table in ninth, goal difference 0 and on 54 points. Would have liked to seen them in the 6 or 7 spot where they spent most of the year, but nonetheless, a very good year for Sheffield United.
Yeah, somehow, again, Leicester ends in 5th, but I feel more confident about Sheffield United than I do Leicester because of the slide they had at the end.
Yeah.
And I'd even say that about Tottenham. So a club like United, if Sheffield United, if they can hold it together, there's some potential. I definitely could see the top 6 having some new wiggle room in it from years past.
Yeah, it's certainly possible.
We'll see.
Because the Jose effect is here, Spurs fans. Everybody's got to go through it. It's time for yours.
As he drinks Butternuts Brewing.
I've gotten better at just it is getting warmer, and it's not good. It's not good. You know what? Since we're about to move on to 10th, we're almost halfway through. Let me just take a moment to give you another reading. This review for the Butternut Snapperhead is 1.69. Pores cloudy, orange amber, strong grapefruit, difficult to characterize. Rotten grapefruit? Harsh. The flavors must come from the farmhouse side. This does not taste like an IPA. The only way I could justify my purchase of this beer was to write a review. This beer is god-awful. The first thing that hits you is the initial smell. One reviewer called the smell like it is ... stay away, but I had to push through to experience the flavor. It's a flavor reminiscent of rotten grapefruits. If I only knew what rotten grapefruits taste like, I can now imagine. And the aftertaste comes in as the feeling you get after sticking a 9-volt battery on your tongue.
Oh,
I honestly can't see how this beer has hit store shelves. It must be an acquired taste. I said rancid orange juice, right? So there you go.
Yeah. You're close.
Pretty close.
Oh.
There you go. Well, I'll have another reading for you guys later.
So in the interest of time, I'm going to whip through 10 through 17 here real quick. And if you got anything you want to talk about, just shoot in. But Burnley in 10th on 54 points, just narrowing out Southampton, who finish on 52 points in 11th place. Everton.
Here's mine.
I
was going to say, for Everton, I have a throw in.
Go for it.
They feel like the biggest disappointment of the season for me.
Carlo Ancelotti,
with what they had, a better manager coming in, the players they had, I really thought there's no excuse they shouldn't at least be in the top 10.
No striker. Striker.
Anyway,
yep.
That's
no striker though.
Yeah.
That's what Southampton has. That's that's they don't have a somebody up front that can really put the ball in the back of the net.
And I kind of feel like Everton is constantly the team that's disappointing, right? Every year is their year, and every year they finish worse and worse, and nothing ever happens.
Now, in the context of the year, it's good that they finished where they did, because for a long while prior to Carlo Ancelotti coming in, they looked like they were going to go down. So in that sense, if you look at it from that sense, they stayed up. Yeah. They were table, so it's good. Two quick things. Sean Dyche, what a job he's continued to do there at Burnley, consistently up there in the top 10. Well done by them. And then Southampton, will Danny Ings be on the move? Because he was right up there in the golden boot race.
That dude had a
ball in the back of the net.
Burnley said that they're not letting him go for anything less than what, 66
Southampton,
million or
Southampton.
I'm sorry, yes, Southampton.
Oh yeah, Southampton, yeah. But Southampton, well done too, because they were looking worse for wear, and
they were hovering in the 15, 16 for a while.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Carry on, Ron.
No problem.
Newcastle. God. Sorry.
Newcastle finish out the season in 13th on 44 points with a minus 20 goal differential.
Yeah, Newcastle.
But they finished above 40 points. That is huge for them.
Yeah.
And the only thing that really sucks, and the season has not ended well, that they not only survived, but they were supposed to be on for a takeover, and that takeover has since fell through.
Right.
It was supposed to be with a
Saudi royal family, right?
Correct. However, come to find out, and why they kind of backed out of it is because for the past few years, the Premier League and Saudi Arabia have been in kind of a tiffle and a legal battle because of piracy and streaming and viewing rights in the country.
Oh.
So I think that the group that was going to buy kind of saw the writing on the wall that this takeover wasn't going to be approved by the Premier League and backed out prior to, which is another big blow for Newcastle, who need to get out of the umbrella of Mike Ashley. And yes, you survived another year, but that's a huge blow.
Yeah. Well, we're going to see how it all pans out. There's really not much else to say.
They need to stop being in relegation battles, and they just keep being in them. Yeah.
Yeah. Crystal Palace finished 14th place on 43 points. Brighton and Hove Albion finish 14th on 43 points. 41 points. My apologies. West Ham struggles through the end of the season to finish in 16th place on 39 points. Aston Villa scrape tooth and nail their way to 17th on 35 points. Just
on the last day of the year.
Yeah, 1 point above the Cherries, our Bournemouth, in 18th place.
Well, they did everything they could in that last game, too.
Yeah, they did.
Yep. on 34 points. They're going down and getting relegated.
Eddie Howe is going to take a break until he takes over for Jose Mourinho when they can him in November and he becomes the Spurs coach.
Love it.
There you go.
Love it.
There's my prediction for next year. Boom. And that fixes you want to play well for the guy. They'll like him. So there you go.
Yeah. And that letter he wrote, the open letter to all of the staff and the players and the fans, what a class act.
Yeah. Really saying that you always hear a lot that it's by mutual decision that we decided to part ways. I'm going to let you really understand how true that is in this case. And he's one of the rare situations where I'm like, I probably believe that actually.
Yeah.
Yep. In 19th place, Watford. Going down after a couple of good years.
How dumb does it look, the firing of their manager, though?
Yeah, when you go through 4 managers this season and you fire him a week or two before the season ends, like, f*** off.
The relegation battle? Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah, you were pretty much there, and there was no real... I don't know. The front office needs to get their heads out of their ass and figure out what they want out of that team.
Exactly, because they don't care about the team. They want the financial aspect of it, and they want to turn it into a business. But the good fans of Watford, what's his name? It's the big
Sir Elton John.
Yeah, Sir Elton John. Like, they have some fantastic fans. They have good players on the pitch, but the ownership doesn't much seem to care. It's a business to them, and it's one that's going to take them further and further down unless some shit gets kind of figured out there. But to go through 4 managers, and so our predictions were completely wrong, because when we chose the first manager sacked, how the hell do we not see Watford as being that? Blake had Ole. Well, he's still on a job. Great. Ron, you had Graham Porter and Brighton. I can see it. Or no, I'm sorry. I did. Yeah, I did. I can see it. And then, Ron, you had Ralph Hasenhüttl for Southampton, both of which were looking worse for wear in battles for a majority of the year, but have survived, as have Ole. But the first manager actually sacked was Javi Garcia. He was sacked in September 11th, only to be replaced by Kiko Sanchez Flores on December 1st. And then he was sacked shortly after that for an interim who was in, and then whoever they just sacked 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's a carousel of managers that most clubs would go through in 4 years that they went through in 1 year.
Yeah, they got bigger problems,
less than 1
man.
year. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's obvious.
I'm sorry, to sack Javi Garcia, or to bring him in after you sack Kiko Sanchez Flores, hire Javi Garcia, to then bring back in Kiko Sanchez Flores, that alone is like, what the hell? And then you sack Kiko Sanchez Flores a few months later, interim, and then bring in Nigel Pearson, and then you sack him. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's clear that the front office has no idea what identity they want for Watford, if they want one at all. Right? I think what Ferris said is pretty accurate. They're just running it like a business. There's no heart in it. There's no soul in it. They're just trying to get that, Premier League money.
Ferris just saw my face drinking that beer.
You're getting towards the end, and that usually
it's warm. And
how red your face is, dude. Okay, so then that leaves Norwich City.
Exciting striker. That's about it.
Yeah,
not even that exciting for a month.
Wasn't. Yeah. He was great for the first 2 months of the Premier League, and then after that, it was who? Who's Norwich?
Who?
He was the Premier League Player of the Month the first month, and then we didn't hear from him for every month after.
But he's got a great Pokemon name.
He does. He does. And the relegation battle that we had, Blake, you had Newcastle, Southampton, and Brighton Hove, all of which survived. I had Southampton, Brighton Hove, and Aston Villa, all of which survived. Ron had Southampton, Brighton Hove. God, we really on Southampton and Brighton Hove.
They weren't proving any different to us going. I mean, like,
And then Ron, you're the only one that had somebody in the bottom 30s. You had Norwich City. Well done from Southampton, Newcastle, and Brighton as they stay up and prove us wrong. And I don't think any of us, clearly, thought Watford and our Cherries were going down.
Yeah, that's true. What was our Leicester's prediction?
Leicester's prediction. Blake had Everton in the top 6. He was
womp, womp.
Hey man, they were coming off the previous year looking strong.
I also had the same drink that you had because I thought they were going to be strong, and I had Everton in the top 6 and Arsenal out of the top 6. I doubled down on that.
I don't think that was a Leicester's pick, though. Well, that seemed like a logical
pick. The Everton one was, and the Arsenal one was because this is your worst league finish in 25 years. So to drop out of the top 6 is actually a pretty big call as they've been in the top 6.
Yeah, but not the way we're playing. I mean, I get what you're saying, but like the way.
So I kind of got that one. I was like, how have you done that?
Also, when you made
I was
this,
like tipsy. I wasn't fully drunk.
When you made this prediction, Emery was still our coach. So
that's true.
I mean, that's
very
what
true.
I'm saying. Like, yeah.
Very, very true. And who was the coach of Everton when the season started? Does anybody know?
Was it Carlos Ancelotti? It was
no, it was not. I don't think it was. Was it Ronald Koeman still?
I think so.
I think it might have. Yeah. Ooh, it seems like so long ago. And Ron had Wolves in the Champions League. They were up there for a majority of the season, so that wasn't too far
close.
There, wrong. You were close. You were close. And then I think we covered it a little bit earlier, but the Golden Boot, Jamie Vardy, wow. 33 years old, and he scored 23 goals this season to win the Golden Boot. Man, what a story he's been as non-league to winning the Premier League to winning the Golden Boot. Like, he is a striker. Blake had Raheem Sterling, and then both Ron and I had Harry Kane. Sterling finished 4th with 20 goals, and Kane was tied for 6th with 18 goals. So well done to Mr. Vardy. Vardy Party.
This beer's almost
How you doing
gone.
There, Blake?
It's almost gone. My stomach's not feeling good, though. I'm not going to lie. Oh, God, it's not. It doesn't feel good.
Well, when you do a good beer here, I'll join you with something else in the fridge just to make sure you don't drink alone.
Yeah.
The teams coming up, what we know so far. Leeds, the massive club that Leeds is.
You excited about that, Ferris?
Like, I am not. No, I personally am not.
Our buddy Jason asked, "How upset on a scale of 0 to or Liverpool winning the championship is Ferris and Leeds coming?"
Yes, not happy, but I will say us getting in 3rd and being back to Champions League did help kind of calm that bit.
Man.
Yes.
God, if Leeds wins the match next year against Man United.
Oh, God. Awesome. Well, here's the thing. Leeds win, and they won outright, so they secure automatic. Top 2 teams in championship do secure automatic. But they were coming off of a scandal last year with Bielsa and filming practices and doing all of that.
Hey, Ferris, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
That's true.
Good for them, I guess. So Leeds will be coming up, and then a team that we know, they come back after a 2-year hiatus. West Brom returns to the Premier League.
Will they secure the 10th league spot in their first year? And that boom, mid-table,
They have the old West Ham manager, Slaven Bilic, I think. He is their manager and has done quite well for them. So he does know the league, and will they spend a little bit with that nice bounce-up cash and TBG money will be the question. And then the final place comes down to the playoff, which is a lot of fun to watch in the championship, and that'll come down between Brentford and Fulham, which I would love to see Fulham back in. They beat Cardiff on aggregate 3-2 in their playoff game, as Brentford also beat Swansea by the aggregate of 3-2 in their game. So that final promotion playoff game, the most expensive game in the world, is set to take place this coming Tuesday.
I don't know, man.
August 4th.
I'd be excited to see Swansea come back in too.
Yeah, no, I don't think I would. I would be excited to see Swansea come back if Cardiff was also coming back. And actually, that would have been a very fun, because that is a very big Wales derby there.
Yeah.
But Brentford.
Oh God, there's so much stuff at the bottom of this.
There it is.
Sorry.
Look at all
What is it?
Look at all that.
Oh God.
It's 2017 in
this
in a
beer.
glass.
The bottom of this beer reminds me of The Great Outdoors, when the guy's like, "Hey, I finished off that porterhouse steak that's like 20 pounds," and he's like, "You didn't finish it. That's just fat and gristle." Like he has to finish it. That's what this feels like at the very end. Oh God, guys, I don't know if you can see the stuff floating around in there, but it's okay.
That's awesome.
That glass.
Okay, I did it. Oh God, that was it.
Oh, that glass sums up what the year 2020 has been this far.
Yeah, that can of beer was 2020.
Yeah.
Oh,
Congratulations.
I have this distinct feeling I'm going to pay for this later. Oh my God.
And it's only 10:24 a.m. on the East Coast. So
yeah, when I get off with you guys, I have to go crawling under my sink and fix a problem sink in my bathroom. That's going to be real fun. With
it's going to smell and taste the same way as that beer did.
Fair enough.
Well, what's funny is later when this beer starts repeating on you, you're going to get to live it again.
Yeah.
Look at Ferris's face.
It's not even going to take that long, I don't think.
Can we resume to something more? Or Blake, do you want to grab another beer before?
No, I need a second
beer.
Okay. Man, I'm going to have a little.
Go ahead and grab a
little coffee, try to get rid of the taste.
Well, I guess.
Sorry, Ron. You go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to go with the next one, so feel free.
NWSL.
Yeah, that's fun news. Let's talk about that. Let's go.
That is very fun news.
Wow.
They were not only the first team sport back in the States, but they did it right. You didn't hear of any cases from their bubble coming out.
Other than before starting, right? Because Orlando got knocked out.
Yes.
It's before it started.
Right. But that's, I mean, in fairness to the league, I guess, and with a sad note from us, is it's the Orlando Pride that pulled out, but Florida also has some of the highest cases, and people aren't wearing masks and just doing stupid shit. Now, I'm not saying that anybody on that team was anything that did anything stupid, but with the case rate that we have here, it's
we don't even know.
Was the team that pulled out.
You don't even know if it was the players. Was it people, staff? You don't know, but But to your point, though, they caught it. They said we're not going to go, and NWSL did it right. The rest of the tournament ran very well. It was very exciting too.
Wasn't it 4 players and 8 staff?
Something like that. It was a mixture of
and good for the club not to say names or not to say who it was, and have a very good response and a very good. Here's why we're doing it. It's with much sadness, as we would like to be playing in this, but it's ultimately the right move, and that's a tough decision for the club to make. And I would have loved to have seen them in this, but it was a very good call, and support not the players, staff, and the club as a whole, because they handled the tournament very well.
But not only that, but the tournament was a blast.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
And it was on CBS. That's huge. I mean, it was good.
Yes, the final was on CBS. The first game was on CBS, and the last game was on CBS. And they were both decent games. I wouldn't call them great games. And then everything else was on CBS All Access. But the Houston Dash defeated the Chicago Red Stars 2-0. And honestly, the Dash, who came in as kind of a question mark on how their team would be and what exactly they would come out with this year, as they've changed over so much. They offloaded people like Halea Watt and brought in people like Shea Groom. Shea Groom had a goal in this game, and as did Sophie Schmidt, a real early goal and a real late goal to seal it. But it was ultimately from the play of their captain, Rachel Daly, who was the MVP of the tournament and the Golden Boot. She had 3 goals and 2 assists throughout the tournament, and she really helped propel this Dash team forward and won their first silverware.
She really put that team on her shoulders for a bunch of games. You know, like her team is pretty well rounded, but the incredible leadership that she has and the work ethic that she has really helped pull that team along. And there's only going to be great things for her in the future.
It helps that Shea Groom, who is a midfield savant, really plays strong. She plays tough. She plays smart. And she has a scoring touch. Her coming in to kind of fill the boots of Sofia Huerta, she did very well this tournament as well. And then also in goal for them, they survived a couple of penalties that kind of helped them. And Jane Campbell was probably the goalie of the tournament as well, as she played very well. So right there you have a good core, and the Dash were able to kind of comprise these different parts into a single entity that could win the tournament.
Yeah.
Oh God. It's so bad.
A long pause.
It's so bad. It's because I normally would have jumped in, but I just sitting there thinking like, I feel just terrible. It's not good at all. So bad. That beer's terrible. I think I would have had the cookie. Had the cookie puss.
Yeah, talk about a beer that repeats on you, cookie puss.
That's the only thing. Yeah, thank God I haven't had any weird burps. Hoof.
Yet.
Yeah. Sorry. Were we just talking about La Liga? I don't even know what was going on. My brain was in a different spot now.
We're about to move to the MLS tournament.
Oh my God. This is so bad. It's like I zenned out in the worst way possible. Okay.
Well, it basically brings us to the MLS's back tournament playing in Orlando. And we just recently started the knockout stage of the tournament. And it's been pretty exciting. I can't say that there's, other than I think Orlando, which I think is on the rise. I can't say that there's one team that just stands out over everybody.
It was LAFC up until this past week.
Yeah.
They were scoring goals and playing very well. As in the round of 16, they beat the Sounders, who are a pretty damn good team.
They soundly beat them.
Yeah, exactly. Also, San Jose has been a bit of a surprise, although they lost last night. They were doing quite well and scoring some goals. But you're seeing teams try to find their form, try to figure out who they are this year. And teams like, which we're glad to say, Atlanta United, who didn't score a goal in the tournament, went out real early and didn't even make it to the round of 16. And Frank DeBoer is already filing for unemployment in the great state of Georgia.
Man, and what a just flame out to get canned in a tournament where you don't even have that many games.
It doesn't help that probably the most prolific striker in the league is still out due to a horrible injury. That doesn't help. But the Frank DeBoer experiment, not the greatest.
Hope you guys appreciate the beer picture I just took for the SnapperHead and sent to you.
Oh,
It'll be on our website.
I can't wait.
It's a subtle thing, but I hope it makes sense to you.
Yeah, so we're about to hit the. Oh, I just got it.
It takes a second to get to Beijing.
Well done.
It's like when you put the flag upside down in distress. So that's why I've got the Brewtiful Game thing upside down in distress.
And the glass laying over.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Well, yeah, good picture, Blake.
Yeah, so in a couple days, we start the semis. The Philadelphia Union versus the Portland Timbers, and then Orlando City versus their former coach, Pinchy, and
how wild is that?
Minnesota United.
I'm so glad that the game went straight to PKs, by the way, in the quarterfinal and not extra time. I don't
like that.
I did too. I know extra time.
Yeah.
It's because generally so many times extra time is both teams are gassed and you just sit around watching them go to PKs anyway. That it was just moving on along.
Yeah, I think it was. I think I texted that to you guys. Like, I'm actually really happy that it just skipped all that. So, all right, guys, quick prediction time. Philly Union versus Portland Timbers. Ferris, who do you like?
The Union have played quite well, so I will take the Union.
I think it's hard for me not to agree with Ferris on the Union because they are looking good.
We are all in agreement on that one. So then Orlando City versus Minnesota United. Ferris, who do you got?
Probably be in agreement on this one as well. I will take Orlando City as they have looked much more organized and have some good scoring options and a sound defense and a very good goalie too. So I'll go with Orlando City.
Our goalie, magical. Right now.
He has those octopus arms. Is that
that's his nickname?
The names and the names that he has. I mean, for a man that's not that tall, he has some long ass arms.
Yeah, he's quite good.
You the same?
I really like this. This for Orlando City. I think this is the most organized we've ever played. This is the most heart we've had in a long time. And I think we retain shape so well. Like, we've never played this well, this consistently.
Here's the thing.
In the history of the club.
This is how you make MLS better. And I think I've basically said the same thing before. The Tito the Martina Tito, I got his name wrong. The guy that used to coach Atlanta.
Tato Martinez.
Tato Martinez. Orlando's new coach. Or manager. You have to why did I just lose his name? Pereira. Thank you. Gosh, man, this Snapperhead has ruined my brain. It's like moonshine, give me the Jake leg. But you star players like Rooney but that's not it. It is going to have to be managers like these guys that can take what they've got and make the most out of it. And yes, Atlanta had a lot of good stuff, but we don't have a tremendous.
How you implement them, though, right? Because we have many, but it's how you implement them. You don't focus everything necessarily around that.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. But it doesn't matter. For the most part, Pereira's got the same team that was there, and he's doing so much more with it. The league needs to invest in managers. That isn't as sexy. I know it doesn't put people in the seats as well, but man, that is what the league needs. Just more good managers. Hey, Eddie Howe, what do you got going on right now? Come on over to the U.S., dude. Have some fun.
Thing coming to the MLS.
He lives in a beach town. He can come down to, there's some places with beaches that got clubs. Don't come to Miami, though. Don't do Miami.
Yeah, I think you're right. The manager hiring and all that isn't the sexy part, but you know what is sexy are really good games and great goal scoring. And where that comes from is the leadership of the manager.
And it has been weird as an Orlando fan to be watching Orlando play this tournament and going, wow, we look good. When is the other shoe going to drop? like these matches would start, and you're like, well, when are we going to do something stupid? Like, when
are we going to give up a goal in the 91st?
I mean, yeah.
Well, something that's really unlike Orlando City of the past is LAFC scores. So we miss a penalty. Nani doesn't strike the best penalty, but it also gets saved. And then within 2 minutes, Bradley Wright Phillips puts one past Galassi, and it's 1-0 in the matter of 2 minutes. And LAFC, their record for scoring back-to-back goals throughout this tournament has been a max of 2 minutes. So I expected that LAFC was just going to turn around and net another one. Orlando looked pretty stunned and shook it off pretty fast and got right back into the game. I don't know that Orlando City's ever been able to do that.
Nope. No, I agree.
So, very true. It's because and Blake, you hit on a very good point with the manager. What he instills in the team. How many times has Fox or ESPN gone to him and mentioned that he gets out like a play, like a board game of a play sheet, and puts it on the ground and starts to go through these things with them? He instills a certain sense of organization, a certain sense of tactics, and a wherewithal of going, you listen to me and what I'm saying, this will help us. And the players are buying into that. And that's where the manager has come in so huge. And we really, in the MLS, it's built on that, essentially. You look at your Ziggy Smiths, your Bruce Arenas, your Caleb Porters,
Bob Bradley, too.
Bob Bradley. You look at all of these managers that have had success in the league, and Oscar Pereira has had success in the league with a dash, or not a dash team, Houston, what's the Ales team? I can't remember now.
Why did you just do that to me? All I can think of is the dash now.
That's not
Dynamo. Thank you. Jeez, all I could think about was the dash.
Way off.
Yeah.
Or no, was he the Dynamo or was he the FC Dallas? I can't remember exactly where he was at.
Wasn't he Dallas?
Do you know what you know what sucks?
I don't remember right now. Yeah. It's 10:30 in the morning. I don't know.
But I mean, the improvement Orlando's had is amazing. But what sucks for people like me and Ron who support the club that are friends with Ferris. Why did Nanny have to play for frickin' Man United? and now Nani's that's his deal, and their Ferris can just always be happy about that.
It's called class, my friends.
Hey,
class. No, but
Giroux needs to retire. Come on down and play for Orlando and make both me and Ron.
Hey, that's not a bad shout.
Yeah.
But it is honestly, it is a manager league, and that's what we've succeeded on with these imports from overseas that have been these big names, whether it's been Pele, although it wasn't in the MLS back then, or it's been the David Beckhams, the Steven Gerrards, the Robbie Kings that are kind of coming at the end of their career. You can integrate them in with a very formidable head coach that usually equals the league's success.
More better coaches, MLS. But it's been a pretty fun tournament, though, so far.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for us as Orlando supporters, so I'll take it. Does this move us on to the FA Cup?
I guess.
Then let me get a good beer out. All right. I've earned this.
Beer with you too.
Dragon's Milk's Bourbon Barrel Aged Stout, one we've had before, but one of the better beers from New Holland, 11% ABV, to make you forget about the snapperhead you just chugged down your throat. That's right, gentlemen. Gonna go straight to the Dragon's Milk. Oh, yeah.
Enjoy, my friend. I will won't let you drink alone, and I'll have a Invasion Tropical Pale Ale from Cigar City Brewing.
Perfect. I'm going to pour this beautiful stout,
I'm going to go for a number 2 on my Jing-A white stout.
This stout is nice and black like the beautiful hair of Mikel Arteta.
He looks like an amazing Bond character. I don't want to say villain because he's such a nice man or seemingly nice man, but he looks like he just walked out of like Skyfall or Casino Royale.
I was going to say that he is in the new Mission Impossible movie. He is Tom Cruise's partner.
He is like the ultimate spy. Like he looks like
he just smiles.
He could fit in a crowd, but yet his smile could kill you. And He drives like the bougiest car, can beat you in any card game.
The name is Arteta.
Drinks the most awesome drinks. His name is
Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, and he little known fact is that he trained Rose Lavelle in all of her gumshoe detective.
Yeah, there you go. It was cool
for our
seeing
other podcast, the Noir Detective podcast of Rose Lavelle.
It was cool seeing the previous pictures of him as a captain, like in which you go, those are the Puma kids. It's not that long ago that he was the captain and lifting the trophy as, one of the players at Arsenal. I went into the FA Cup, to be quite honest. I had this prediction of it would be a 2-2 tease and Chelsea would win in overtime or extra time. That was like what I thought was going to happen. That if Arsenal played well, like that's what would happen. I did not expect, and then when Pulisic just scored so fast, and I thought, well, that maybe it's going to be a lot worse. But then Chelsea became Arsenal, and everyone got injured, and then they got a red card.
Yep,
it was the most Arsenal thing that Arsenal usually does in a match against Chelsea. That always happens to Arsenal. And it was Chelsea who was very Arsenal-y in this match. Yeah. All these injuries, and to the point where the last, in the first half ended, and it was like, man, those last 20 minutes were all Arsenal. Can we do this? Like I was very surprised by the run of this match.
Yeah. We lose 3 good players in this match. Azpilicueta goes out with a hamstring injury, as does Pulisic. And if you go back and watch Pulisic charging the net on that play where he's injured, he starts screaming early, at like the top of the arc, and still manages another couple of steps and a shot before he, granted, it wasn't that impressive a shot. He had a hamstring issue. But you could tell he wanted that so bad. He's been in such good form and playing so hard, but
it was one of those injuries that's scary because it wasn't from a tackle, it wasn't from somebody else. It was one of those that you do on your own. You just know that something's wrong.
Yeah, and then Pedro's dislocated shoulder.
Ugh. That looks rough.
So essentially, we're going to lose to Bayern.
Oh man, that's the big news out of this. Really, is how do you compete against Bayern? Exactly. Yeah.
And it's going to be a rough road ahead for Chelsea. I really hope that Pulisic and Azpilicueta can heal up well and still come back to the form that they had before their injuries, because Pulisic, I mean, he was just on fire coming back out of the COVID break.
I hate that because I'm like, damn it, Chelsea scored. I'm good for Christian P. It's so hard because I can't not love the guy. Yeah. I mean,
such heart.
My thing that makes me feel confident about Arsenal was after the match when how many players jumped up in the arms of Mikel Arteta and all that stuff, and I'm like, just they have not had someone to rally around. I feel like since Wenger, and even at the very end of Wenger, where it was waning, there was still such a crazy respect with him.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like this love. And then you're looking over and you're watching clubs like Liverpool on the rise and stuff, and going, gosh, I wish that guys would, like a guy like that, like Klopp or whatever. And so I walk away from this feeling I feel very good about next year. Mikel Arteta, speaking of managers, he took what Emery had, same team, and I think he has gotten the best that you are going to get out of the players on that team in that configuration. And he's been very clear up front early, you're either with us or you're out, man. Like, and he established that very quickly when he took over. Socrates, that was his first game in for just a couple minutes because of an injury.
Papadopoulos?
Yeah, because he had pulled some BS and, Arteta was like, all right, later. Yeah. Obviously, and he's been very, you're on board or you're not. And I think he has gotten the best that you are going to get out of the team. So I'm excited to see what they hopefully can pull off with a few pieces in the summer.
He's reinvented their confidence. He's rejuvenated that. And that has been huge. What I think was interesting, we haven't said his name thus far, but can you guys hang on to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang?
I think without winning,
pure class as a striker. With not only he made the play to help cause the penalty, coolly put it away, and then his second goal was just pure class.
I think if you had lost the FA Cup, it's a definite no. I think winning helps in a big way. I
asked a friend of the pod, Phil, yesterday, an interesting question, and how that question changed throughout the game. His answer changed, or his thought on it changed. I said, and Blake, I'll primarily ask this to you. Would you take Aubameyang leaving the pod, but you get in...
The pod? Is he coming on the show?
No, I'm sorry. The game. Yeah. Would you take Aubameyang leaving Arsenal, but you get in Danny Ings and Wilfried Zaha? Now, I asked him that at the start of the game, not the end of the game.
I think no, because Aubameyang has this not a showboat kind of star around him. He's like a show up and do the work kind of guy.
He does flips when he scores and wears Batman masks. What do you mean showboating?
I'm talking about I'm talking about the way he is with the press, the way he is with other players, and that kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, he enjoys the moments. Like, don't get me wrong, I will never forget the not Batman Buddy. It was Black Panther. It was awesome. He got that mask and did the Wakanda for everything.
I think he did Batman at Dortmund. That's why I say that.
Right. I think you take him because I think he is I think that's a good role model. And I think the front is built for him right now. So I would keep him over Zaha and Ings coming in. If you can keep Lacazette, and I think that's important to keep that group has been working well together.
Yeah, and something that Phil made some good points is you kind of forget he's captain. And yesterday was a very captain performance. Also, he mentioned, and we kind of forgot about this, but Xhaka, how well has he been for you guys, especially coming off of the off fans and all of that? But he's been solid in there. He's been solid.
Arteta has definitely reined him in a lot. Yeah, I mean, I think Arteta's a really good manager, and now he can stop being under the shadow of Pep and just go be his own thing next year, I mean, the pundits on ESPN Plus were very, very positive on him, following it. And I love that, I don't know if you saw his final interview or on the pitch, but all the stuff he talked about, and he goes, they said, is it better as a captain lifting it or this? He goes, this was better to go into the dressing room and be with the guys just now and see their reactions and yada, yada, yada. And he's talking about this, which is great. Then the end he goes, but I also have to thank Pep. And he really said a nice thing about Pep, which is funny because Pep on two fronts, both the ban for Man City and then how Arsenal snagged Arteta is not very keen on the Arsenal situation. So I thought it was interesting. He got that in there, but he's just he's anti Jose Mourinho, right? Nice smile, pleasant, not boastful and at all. And I definitely feel way better about going to a new season, not winning the championship, but like, my God, we're fighting for top 4 with him. I have no doubts. Like, I feel like that fight is back on, as opposed to praying for 6th. Especially because I do think clubs like Tottenham will have troubles because of, I think, like Jose. I think they're going to have an issue. But yeah, again, it felt so weird to be an Arsenal fan watching this, because usually this is the other way around. Arsenal has 3 people get injured and a red card.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that until you said it, but yes, that's 100% true.
There was a weird one VAR situation where should have been a foul against Bellerin, and then that goal not have counted. The tying goal, that sweet goal that or I guess that wasn't the tying goal. That was the second goal that Aubameyang put in. No, not the offsides. That it should have been a foul. If you did the VAR, that Bellerin fouled the guy, the ball then went forward, and then Aubameyang ended with it. And he had that beautiful goal. And so then they said they didn't go to VAR at all with that because it would have been subjective. To which then the pundits afterwards were like, this is why we hate this. What does that, what do you mean subjective? We're watching the replay. Dude gets in front of the ball. Bellerin hits him in the back. It's not on purpose. It's not vicious. It's not a red card. They're like, but it's a foul. Like what?
And it's all Arsenal. The entire thing's subjective.
Well, what's but like, what's this VAR thing? Just figured out. Like, I was a friend of mine who's a big Chelsea fan who lives in the UK. He and I were texting back and forth in the whole match, and I was like, I just hate how long, even before the PK, it took for VAR to determine that it was a penalty for Arsenal to take. But just I'm so confused about when it is and isn't appropriate to use VAR. I feel like we as watching don't understand that at all. For them to be like, some things they look at, you go, oh, well, they looked at that. And then for this one to go, oh, it's going to get called back because of Bellerin's foul. No, we're not going to look at it. It's subjective. What? I mean.
Yeah. And isn't the whole point of VAR to take the subjective part out?
Yeah. I'm just don't understand it. I mean, and like the penalty for Arsenal,
get it wrong?
Why did that take so long to call a penalty? It was clearly a penalty. Like, that's one too, where you're like, the VAR shouldn't be taking as long as it is. That's a penalty. Moving on. That took forever.
To be honest, I would submit that while VAR is a good idea, the Premier League has no friggin' clue how to keep it consistent and how to implement it correctly.
Yeah. If they don't get markedly better next season, just get rid of it. Just get rid of it.
I don't think there's any going back at this point.
Well, I just don't get how Bundesliga and that World Cup were great with it. Or, I don't know. We've talked about it before. Just makes me batty.
Yeah, I don't think there's any going back at this point. They got to figure it out, because if the Bundesliga can do it, if the MLS can do it, I mean,
well, hold your horses.
Premier League has to figure out how to do it.
Doesn't do it that well either.
But they do it better than the Premier League.
It's a more consistent, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so
I think that's the problem, is the lack of consistency, and I think the Premier League forgets about one key phrase: a clear and obvious error.
Yeah.
Not, I think this guy's toenail was offside, so we have to go and review it.
Should be,
because that in the game is not a clear and obvious error.
No, it should be the lineman, the line judge, have a clear error. Well, no, the guy wasn't 2 feet off of the line. Both of their toes might have been a centimeter ahead. So nope, not a clear and obvious error. The goal stands. Moving on. Yes, that is absolutely correct. If they just leaned on that phrase, I think, then you still put the power on the refs on the field.
Yeah.
And
another thing I think the Premier League should do is what they talked about, I don't know, months and months ago, was putting the audio for what the refs are talking about on screen when you're watching it at home.
Wait, didn't that happen? We heard the coaches
MLS.
Talking during the penalty. That was
we
MLS.
heard it. we heard it in the MLS when the ref was explaining to the two goalkeepers the penalty, and I thought that was cool. I think Ron and I were chatting about that. That was cool to see. So there is something to be said in that. I don't know if you want to hear everything, but it certain things I think would be good to hear.
Yeah, agreed.
Ron, for some reason, would not agree to a bet. I told him I was going to mail a SnapperHead to him. Let that take the slow boat to China, get real nice and warm.
Ron's a smart man.
If we were in the U.S., I would have bet you, but I'm not going to wait for a beer to get warmed and shaken and frozen.
2017 aged beer.
Yeah. So
instead
you'll wait to get back to the U.S. next year when that beer is from 2017, and we'll make a bet then.
No, because I'm smart. My beer is going to be for Cookie Puss.
Yeah, The
only thing is, I want Ferris to drink the Cookie Puss because he had the best reactions from it.
I don't want to drink the Cookie Puss. I'm not about. I've lost the majority of the bets on this pod. Why the hell would I submit myself to being open to losing yet another one?
Oh,
yeah.
Man, this dragon's milk, by the way, it's literally the milk of the gods right now, comparatively. I would rate this a 12.0 out of 10. It's so much better than what I just had. What a wild swing.
Ours goes to 11.
Should we get to a little short little Liga roundup in the beer news?
Yeah, just a very, very short. We had a couple of leagues finish up as of recent. Over in the Spanish Primera Division, Real Madrid top it as they take Barcelona off their perch. And the Zidane effect is just insane. Man, that man just knows how to set up a team and just knows how to win. They win the Primera Division. This is very true. They win the league on 87 points with a plus 45 goal difference. Barcelona came in second on 82 points. Atletico Madrid on 70 and Sevilla on 70 as well in fourth. So kind of how we thought played out, but Madrid, who were looking kind of worse for wear earlier in the season until they brought back Zidane, have really come good and just played some solid football. And Barcelona have some stuff they got to figure out. The Antoine Griezmann, Philip Coutinho, the various.
Can I just say, by the way,
are just so weird
because we haven't had a National Lampoon's reference this pod. Every time I hear the name Griezmann, I think of, that's true. We already have had a couple. That's true. But I now don't even notice them. But whenever I hear the word Griezmann, I always think of Clark's boss calling his name. Yeah. All right, Greaseball. It's Grisball.
Just put it over there. Greaseball with the others.
Every time I hear Griezmann, I just feel like it's one of Griswold's miscalled names. There you are. I forgot we did the gift keeps on giving the whole year. I forgot we've already.
Yeah, the whole year.
I don't know that if there's a pod that exists without it, I'd be astounded.
True. Yeah, right. And then over in the Spanish Serie A, the Italian Serie A, Juventus do retain that top spot as they lost on the final day to Roma, but they went on 83 points, so very, very tight as Inter Milan kind of got back into it and came in second on 82 points. So tight, and Inter Milan actually scored 40, or they had a plus goal difference of 45, where Juventus only had a plus 33. So a very interesting race there, but Ronaldo and Juventus win the Scudetto once again. Inter Milan second. Atalanta, a very good showing yet again, and they're also in the Champions League still. They're back at it because they came in third. They've been playing very, very well. They're on 78 points, and then Lazio, who I think Atalanta, or was it Inter Milan beat? So somebody beat on the final day, ended in fourth on 78 points. Roma and AC Milan, possibly Napoli, will be in the Europa League next year. That's your La Liga roundup.
I just want to say before we get to the beer news, there's one thing I want to throw a shout out to a pod in a blog we all like, the World Soccer Talk. He does a great job, Chris does, of like putting together how people watch soccer. And he's put together just recently, I think I just shared it on our Facebook, but a mega pack of, and it's not necessarily like them doing it, but showing you the different streaming packages you can get to get as much soccer as you possibly could get for like $24 a month or something like that. Between Peacock and ESPN Plus and some other stuff. And it just, and it was kind of cool to go, man, you know what's rad? At $24, like if you had no cable, you still couldn't get like your NBC, ESN Premier League matches, but all the Premier League, all the La Liga, all the Bundesliga and stuff that came together in these like 4 or 5 streaming packages that equaled like I said, $23 a month or whatever. Do you ever think we live in America where we had access to all these games? I mean, when I was looking at it, that's what struck me, like all the leagues that were in there. And we almost had Scottish Premier League, but they failed to secure a licensing deal right at the end.
Yes.
But as far as everything else was concerned, like, man, we just have access to so much. It's wild.
Yeah, compare that to, say 8 years ago when it was hard to find anything.
Your only option was like that streaming package with Fox Soccer that was like
you had Fox Soccer Plus and Setanta.
Yeah.
Back then, yeah.
But it's just wild, I signed up. I hadn't done ESPN Plus yet, but I did it for the FA Cup match, and not that I want another streaming service, but I was like, well, I'll get it, even if I just cancel it in a month. $5 is cheaper than going to the bar and watching it, right? But the fact that Bundesliga is going to be on there.
Here's the thing. You can't go to most bars and watch it.
That's
we
true.
went to a place yesterday, and we had to watch it on our phones because they have cable or direct TV.
I did feel like
streaming.
That's a miss. I don't understand why you wouldn't, for $4.99 a month, whatever ESPN Plus is, have every FA Cup game, but then put the championship on both your Plus and your ESPN channel. That surprised me, especially right now where we are missing sports. To have Arsenal versus Chelsea, why not just put that on your? That's weird to me. I mean, they got $5 for me today yesterday by me, signing up for their service, but I already paid for the cable to get ESPN, so. It just seemed like an odd choice. It just seemed like you would go ahead and do that, like the Champions League did, right? The final was on, or the final will be on TV, where the other stuff would have been streamed.
I think it's on CBS this year. Well, now because the year actually changed. It was on TNT, but now everything really changed. But I wonder if you're going to see bars start to switch to more Fire Sticks and Apple TVs and those sort of things. I think it's a licensing thing. Can do it.
Because right now they pay for a package that allows them to show all these channels in their bars, and so they'll just have to work out a licensing thing,
right?
But I think it'll happen.
Their deals, right? But the bars have deals with either DirecTV, Dish, or in this area, Spectrum. Will they start to switch and go, well, the hell with you guys? Let's the bar just pay for an Apple TV thing.
At the end of the day, these companies like money. I'm sure if enough bars reach out and go, hey, Disney, ESPN, we'd like to be able to show this final next year, I'm sure something can get, can get worked out. But it did seem an odd choice to me not to do the final on national TV, just out of, you don't have a lot else going on right now. So
very true.
But I'll say this, the coverage I really enjoyed. The ESPN FC has always been fun, and their banter afterwards was a ton of fun. I felt so bad for the one pundit who was out in the street and they got swarmed by all the Arsenal fans chanting. I don't know if you saw that. And like when it cut back to him, they're like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, just still a disease going on here. Unbelievable." And you can tell he was about to get railingly pissed off. And they switched to the other guy who's like, "Yep, that was funny, Chip." I don't know, whatever. Like, I was like, "Oh, right now that dude has got some guy's Arsenal kit punching him in the face." He was so angry. And as soon as it happened, my wife was like, "I feel very unsafe now." When the guys all crowded around, I was like, thanks, Arsenal fans, for making us look like idiots. All with no masks, just clamoring around this guy. You're like, oh. And you can just see the look on the two pundits who were both in the streets. So their faces were like, here I am reporting, and I might die from a disease now.
In 2 weeks, this could really suck.
Exactly. And then he'll be on his own for 2 weeks.
Yeah. He was like, I don't get paid enough for this. But it was, I enjoyed the coverage. And since they've got Bundesliga and it starts September, is it like Premier League, Bundesliga firing back up in September?
Premier League starts like September 18th, 17th, 15th, somewhere in that range. I think the Bundesliga might start the week before or something like that.
I guess I don't mind. I guess I might keep it. If their coverage can be worse than the Bundesliga's was for Fox, I didn't think they did great coverage.
I didn't mind Fox's for a bit. They dedicated their Saturdays and Sunday mornings to the show. Some of how the games played out, especially during the quarantine or when they came back from that, was kind of odd. But for the most part, I didn't think Fox did a terrible job.
Well, yeah, they also knew they had lost the rights. But here's the thing that says something. True. Premier League, ESPN and Fox put together a huge bid that outbid NBC. But Premier League said, no, we're going to stay with NBC because the growth of viewership has been so good under them and what they're doing that it's not worth the extra money, because in the end we'll make more money on, jersey sales, whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
and all those fan fests and things like that people are going to.
So hopefully ESPN really
doing the smart thing
could do something cool with Bundesliga there. But anyway, sorry, Ron, didn't mean to postpone your beer news so much.
No, you're fine.
But World Soccer Talk, if you're trying to catch into next season stuff, they always have a great info on how to watch whatever the legal way, I should point out.
Yeah, no Reddit streams or anything like that. So some quick beer news I'll float through really quick. U.S. brewers shipped 16.6 million barrels of beer in June, according to the estimates from the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, which is, the government entity for taxing all that. This is a 4.4% increase over June of 2019. So that part's pretty good. The issue, though, is that we're still down 1.4% overall compared to this time last year. To date, we have only shipped 83.
That's not a bad dip, though, when you think about what's going on. That's not awful.
June did a lot to really pick it up for us, because before that, March, April, and May were just atrocious. So, yeah, being down 1.4% overall isn't a complete travesty. Normally, we only fluctuate by 0.3, 0.4, 0.5%. It's never been a whole percent, let alone 1.4. So it's still a big number, but it's not insurmountable. But then you should tell that, you take those stats and you say, oh, we're not doing bad. But then you look at states like Florida, and their Brewers Association has been relentlessly going after the government, saying, look, you're killing tens of thousands of jobs because of your lack of responsibility.
The government is looping in Florida, the breweries as if they are clubs downtown. And the open letter the brewery sent were saying, look, we cater to families. Our business is during the day. Most of us are closed by 9 o'clock at night. And if you want to say we all have to do that, fine. But we're not a bar club where people are packed in.
Right.
You are using us as a scapegoat.
And the breweries, most of them have the ability to social distance, whether it's inside or outside.
A lot of them have outside.
And they're not visited by as many people as clubs or bars or anything else. So I'm very happy that the Florida Guild Association they've all kind of gone after it and been like, hold on, allow us something here so that we can still maintain a business.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing has been decided from the government standpoint yet whether or not they're going to allow the breweries to open. And this is so in a minute I'm going to go over a stat that is going to just completely blow your mind because it really just I couldn't believe it. Some brewery market share information as of July 31st. So AB InBev, and we've talked about them a lot in the past couple of months, they own 42.3% of the market, and this is up 0.3% from last year. Molson Coors has 23.7%, which is down 0.1% from last year. Constellation's brand got 10.2% of the market share, which is up 0.4% from last year. So that's 76.2% of the beer market is owned by those three: AB InBev, Molson Coors, and Constellation's brand. Craft breweries make up that final 23.8%.
Which sounds huge, but that's several different companies. It should not, you know what I mean? That's a big chunk, but it's several companies that have that chunk.
It's every craft brewery in the country, right? So that
huge
means every craft.
15 years ago, it was less than 1% or something like that.
Right.
So
yes. Yeah. So currently, 67% of all beer sold in the U.S. is in cans right now. 32% is bottled. That's 99% of all beer sold is either cans or bottles. The final 1% is from draft sales from the beginning of this year till now. But draft beer sales used to account for almost 80% of all beer sold in the U.S.
Wow.
Well, this is much like your news prior when you were like, all these kegs are being thrown away because you don't have people in sports stadiums buying beers and stuff. So like, yeah.
Yeah, and then also we also talked about, I think on the last pod, that cans are going to be in shortage because
that's right.
There's so much, there's such a huge amount of cans being used that weren't being used before. And then I put a little table in the beer news that I found the craft brands shared across the various weeks. And essentially Blue Moon comes in across the top, 12%, 11%, 12%, which is interesting because I don't know how you really classify that as craft beer, considering who owns it and where it's brewed, right? Which is, it's an AB InBev product. It's not really craft beer anymore.
I thought it was a Coors. Is it not Coors? It's AB.
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I thought it was AB.
I think it's Coors.
I think it is too.
Yeah, feel free to check. New Belgium is number 2 on the list with basically an average of 5% all across the board. Then
Miller
Sierra,
Coors. It is Miller Coors. Yeah.
Oh, is it Coors? Yeah. I think New Belgium is not necessarily craft brew either in terms of who they're owned by and stuff now too.
But the New Belgium is still brewing their beer.
Yes.
So they are owned by someone else. Blue Moon hasn't brewed their own beer in quite some time.
Okay. Yeah.
Because as far as I remember, Blue Moon was bought by AB InBev and then sold off. And maybe that's where it went to Coors.
Right.
But regardless of all that, Sam Adams is next on the list, followed by Sierra Nevada, Leinenkugels, Shiner, Bell's Brewing, who just expanded they're going into Oklahoma. So they just expanded they're in 42 states now, Bell's Brewery. And they're one of the largest distributed beers in the country from a craft brewing standpoint. Under them is Founders, Lagunitas, Sweetwater, and then Kona, Goose Island. Also questionable if you want to call them.
Oh yeah, because
craft beer.
They're InBev, right?
Yep. Shock Top is also questionable if you're going to call them craft beer.
They've been InBev for years, though, haven't they?
They've always, they were the first answer that Budweiser started doing to kind of combat the.
Correct. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
And then making a strong Florida showing is Cigar City.
Hey, that's what happening right now.
Yeah. And then everybody else. So yeah, check that out. It's pretty interesting if you get onto any of the craft brew news websites, they're all talking about this right now. So there's a lot of interesting information to be found. And then for the last kind of headline for the evening, Weathered Souls Brewing from San Antonio, Texas, started the Black is Beautiful initiative, a collaborative effort to raise awareness for the injustices people of color face daily and raise funds for the legal defenses for those who have been wrongly or wronged by police brutality. So
they're where in Texas?
San Antonio.
Awesome.
I didn't realize they're the ones that started that.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
This initiative essentially urges brewers to develop their own versions of the company's Black is Beautiful, a 10% ABV Imperial Stout. So it's kind of like All Together Beer had done for COVID. These guys are doing for, essentially the Black Lives Matter movement and all the racial injustices. So
it's awesome.
Each brewery is encouraged to put their own twist on the beer, but they have a few stipulations. One is the beer must maintain the style and the ABV of the original recipe. The ingredients should showcase the many different shades of black and brown within humanity. And 100% of the proceeds from the sale of the beer must be donated to local foundations which support racial equality and or reform. All the brewers can download the recipe, the labels, and all the other materials for free on the website, which is www.blackisbeautiful.beer. And in the first month that this has been around, 1,089 breweries in 50 states and 20 countries are participating. Some of the notable breweries, Allagash Brewing, bam. Love that brewery. Probably my favorite brewery of
one of my favorites
all time so far. And remember, you can buy them in Total Wine stores in Florida now. So a little shameless promotion on that one.
Yeah, I may have to do that after one day at work this week. Float over there and see if they got a little Allagash.
Big Top Brewing from Sarasota, Florida. A growing favorite in Central Florida, Bowigan's Beer from Castleberry.
Yeah,
they're brewing it. Cigar City's brewing it. Broken Strings in Orlando. Dead Lizard in Orlando.
Oh, cool! That's right near work. We might need to float over there, Ferris.
Yeah.
We could get some of you for the pod to go.
I like it.
Funky Buddha Brewing, Hourglass Brewing, Sideward Brewing, Tactical Brewing, all those in Scotland. I mean, in Orlando. And then Brewdog in Scotland, they picked it up. And Brewdog's huge here. There's Brewdog everywhere in China. So I'm hoping that they'll get some of that distributed over here so we can give it a try. And then probably my favorite Canadian brewer, Forefathers Brewing, is also doing it. So get out there and give this beer a try. It obviously goes to a really good and needed cause right now. So give that a whirl. And if you guys get a chance, get it on the pod so we can give it some popularity.
We might have to try to do that.
I'll get over to Dead Lizard. I love that place.
Heck yeah.
And then one last thing, I got to try my third brewery for the All Together beer. So if you were following any of our social media over the weekend, I was at the Jing A Brewing and they had All Together beer there. So
which version was it, right? It was support. Either a West Coast IPA or
a New England IPA.
New England IPA. Which was yours?
New England.
Nice.
So far, I've not had a West Coast version of it.
The Sun Creek.
I don't think I have either. Yeah.
The Sun Creek I had was New England. So yeah.
And it was quite tasty. I had a couple of them, and then I got a growler of it, nice. Just to help support local COVID efforts and things like that. But that's all the beer news for now.
Very cool.
That's all the news. It is the news with beer news now. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. I forgot to do the intro.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
But you had a beer to be in the pod with, so you were excused.
Man,
cut you a little slack.
Guys, that was that messed with my brain. That messed with my brain. That was friggin' awful. God, that was terrible. That's definitely one of the worst beers I've had since. It's worse than the last time that we did it. What does that even say?
Well, it's been like another year. So like in 2019, 2017 didn't seem that bad. In 2020, 2020, which has already been a year. 2017 seems even worse.
Man.
Is it repeating on you yet?
No, it did not. I will say the Cookie Puss definitely wins the cake for like just super, super awful and repeats on you. This one is just terrible going down. There is no other way around it. It's just awful going down. It's so bad. And like they said, guys, like a rancid grapefruit.
That's terrible. We forgot to mention in the Premier League our fantasy league and how that finished off. The top four, if you will.
I kept catching up to Ferris, but I know.
Kim K, a loyal listener of the pod, and who I think has been first the past few seasons. Hopefully is staying safe and preparing for what is tropical storm.
We have a hurricane tropical storm coming our way. Whatever.
But he kind of got knocked off his perch there as Gary Watson finished first this season on 2,274 points. Kim K was in second though. Denny Lloyd was in third, and then I ended up in fourth with a little bit of a comeback. Relegation. Ron, you are the Norwich City of this year's fantasy league.
I have to say that I was in China for almost all of it.
Well, you had a good last day. You had 86 points on the last day of the year, but other than that, you're done. Blake finished just shy of, or right around there of, just shy of mid-table for our league, as we only have, we don't have quite that number of teams in there, but a very fun and segmented year for fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a weird and that last run was hard because the games were so fast and furious to like see where to place people. Man, I kept trying to catch up to Ferris. I was ahead of him for a little bit.
Not in that or the actual table, which is why you drank some butternuts, my friend.
Yeah, I did. Well, ladies and jelly spoons, thanks for doing another Premier League season with us. Follow us on Twitter at The Brewtiful Game. The website's thebrutifulgame.com, which you can find links to all our stuff. But also check us out on Untapped. Check us out on Facebook. We're very active on Twitters and the Facebooks and the Untapped especially. I think that's everything, guys. And don't forget to follow us on our Instagrams.
Yep.
Is that us?
I'm
going to tell you this, Snapperhead. I need to go eat like some very clean food after this. I feel like it can flush my system. But the only problem is I've been eating a ton of seaweed, so I feel like I need to seek kelp.
Damn.
Yes.
It seems even worse because
nothing.
Zero. I don't think seaweed is a word that I would have thought would ever come up on this pod.
There you go. The look on your face and the slow burn was so good.
That's the worst for wear. I mean, that's one.
We always like
that's the worst one you've had in a while.
Showing a terrible dad joke, and that's pretty bad.
That was bad.
Yep. You know what's not bad? This beer. You know what's terrible? Smelling that Snapperhead.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Oh. All right, everybody. Thanks. You guys have a good one. Cheers. Love the game. I can't even see. Look at me. I can't even. Look. God, that's how bad this beer messed me up. Here, let's try that again. Okay, guys. Love the beer. Cherish the game. The Brewtiful Game. Cheers.
Be safe, everybody.